everyone, Genome here, come at you with something entirely new for the channel. Gee, I've never seen that happen before. But this is the kind of culmination of a hobby I've been working on the side as of late. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, know that I post pictures of oil paintings I do every now and then. And I figured, well, why not give a step-by-step tutorial and do a real fast one for you guys and kind of show you what goes into it. It's not incredibly complex. And believe me, I am not an instructor. I've only done like 20 of these. So please, please, please don't think I'm doing a how-to to show everyone how great I am or nothing. I just want to show you that even someone like me with about zero visual artistic ability, I'm very good with the written word, decent with the spoken word, and awful with visual mediums, right? Even you could do a landscape. So this is going to be in a wet on wet, a la Bill Alexander and Bob Ross style, right? That you've seen if you don't know what that means. Basically, I'm going to be using oil paints and I'm going to be painting on a canvas that is wet. So I'm going to show you how this gets prepped and everything. All the other videos I watch, they never show you how to prep the canvas and what to use. So I'm going to just go over that real fast. Unfortunately, I thought I had another canvas here, and I don't. All I have is a small one. So I'm just going to do a small one, but like I said, normally like a 18 by 20 or something, you can get $5 or $10 down at Hobby Lobby. It's a great deal, and it goes a long way. These are pre-stretched, pre-treated. So, you like my little homemade easel I made? I need to make a locking one. This is way too big, but I made it for something else, and it never got used. So it's going to get used today. So let me give you a quick breakdown of what exactly you're going to need to get started in this, all right? So let me switch to the other camera here as I make a little trip. And let's see, let me get this. Let's kind of zoom in here a little bit. All right, let me zoom out a little bit. All right, so what you see before you is pretty much everything that you will need to get started other than the canvas, right? Let's go over some important baseline stuff. You're gonna need a way to clean your brushes. You can buy the stuff at the art store. It's really expensive, odorless thinner. I prefer to buy mine down at Home Depot, a lot cheaper. 13 bucks to get like a gallon of it. You'll need base coats of liquid white and sometimes liquid clear. You don't use that too often, but it does get used. Black gesso or flat black acrylic paint, latex. You can get that down at the hardware store too. I just bought this because it was convenient at the time, but use these for the black canvases. You can buy the pre-blacked out canvases, but they're really expensive, like 15 bucks a piece. It's much cheaper just to paint them yourself, let them dry for an hour or so, and they're ready to go. I like containers, like anything. Ice cream containers, coffee cans, big coffee cans, they work great for your mineral spirits or whatever paint thinner you want to use. I also put a little screen in there for knocking off the brush, but you'll be using that a lot. Palette, don't have to have a palette. In lieu of that, dollar store like styrofoam and paper plates, usually styrofoam, work great. This actually is holding my base coat right now because I didn't want to get it running down my palette here. Assorted paints. Okay, let me tell you right now, buy primaries. Don't buy like sky blues and aquamarines and there's 30 different colors of some things. Most of it just requires basic colors and you can mix them yourself. So instead of buying like a purple, just mix red and blue together, all right? It's much easier that way than having paints everywhere. You want a big tube of white. You're gonna use tons of white in these kind of paintings, right? I've noticed lots of browns and like phthalo blues, but everything in crimsons use a tiny bit amount. Like the blues and the reds and the blacks are real strong colors, so you don't need a whole ton of them. Let me switch over here to your brushes. Now I have kind of an assortment of brushes here. Really all you need to get started is a 2-inch brush. Try to buy a decent one. Of course I bought the Ross brand, but whatever. This one's kind of disformed. It's been used a lot. A 1-inch brush. The 2-inch brush is mostly for blendings and backgrounds, but it does other things for mountains and stuff. I'll show you that today. And a fan brush. Those three will get you through basically any painting you want. The more of them you have, the less time you have to spend cleaning one brush, but I have a real stiff fan brush and then a medium and then a real soft. And then some liner brushes of varying sizes for doing the little details, branches and such. I'm not sure if I'll be using that today or not. And of course, assign your work. And of course, maybe the most important part, other than the brushes, is your palette knife. This gets used a ton. We'll use it some today as I build mountains. So you can have different size ones too for smaller works. I may even have to use this one today if I decide to do a background mountain, but we shall soon see. So I'm going to go ahead and wing this today. And let me put this back up to where it needs to be. Hopefully I can get it zoomed in nice. I'm not in the way of it. Move this over here. Testing, testing. Okay, it's gonna come up a little bit. Sorry, I'm doing it by myself. Not always easy. Hopefully you can see that. Also, I didn't show you, but a garbage can to knock off the excess mineral spirits into it. I just put a really thick industrial grade toilet paper roll or paper towel roll over there. That knocks off the excess, and I built, let me just move this one more time. I built a beater box here, 2x4s and some other stuff. So you're gonna wanna beat your brushes. And by that I mean you knock off the excess paint thinner so you're not smearing your paint everywhere, because this paint will smear. So anyway, I know you're getting sick of listening to the prep work. That's basically what you need. I mean, liquid clear or liquid white's about 25 bucks for a little can. I'm going to research on how to make it myself because I think it's probably cheaper just to make it your damn self. Liquid clear, about the same amount, about 25 bucks for a little can. It does go a long way, guys. So black gesso is about 6 bucks. But once again, flat paint's much cheaper just to buy at the hardware store or whatever. Mineral spirits, like I said, about 15 bucks. And each of these brushes was probably about 20. I'm sure you can buy off-brand, but at least these two, I would really recommend having a good, decent brush. Same with the fan brush. All the other tertiary brushes, I don't think it matters quite as much if you're not gonna get serious into it. So, you know, probably $100, $150, and you can get started and do tons of paint. All right, and oil paint's kind of expensive. Like I said, for a tube of white, it's about 15 bucks. It once again goes pretty far, but little tubes like this are about 5 bucks a piece. So, I don't know, palette, 10 bucks. Anyway, enough about me jibber-jabbering. So let me show you how I get started here. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the liquid white, magic white, whatever you wanna call it. You can't really see it in that camera because of the lighting. But it's much thinner, like about half as viscous as your regular white paint, maybe even less so. And I'm gonna put a real light base coat on this canvas here. So just kind of, just pull a little bit out with the end of your brushes. Remember, you don't need a lot. Too much, and the canvas is way too wet and slick, and normally I use gloves. Latex gloves are a great thing to have when you're doing this because it gets everywhere, but for video purposes, I'm not gonna wear them. This stuff has thickened up over time, over like the last year and a half that I've had this can. So I've noticed that I'm having to use a little bit more of it. It's not spreading as easy. I don't know, I could probably thin this out with some thinner, but we ain't got all day. If you get a hair in there, pop it out with an upward stroke. This is the boring stuff, I know, but like I said, all the videos I watch, I just jump right into it. And the only one I've ever seen prime the canvas is Bill Alexander. He, a lot of times, will prime the canvas for the shows. If he's going to do a real fast one, he'll just do that to kill some time, I guess. But, and I'll try to remember to talk through this, but I'm not the old pro that can just talk about this ad nauseum because, like I said, I'm pretty new to the game myself. Okay, and this last bit should do it. I probably put on maybe a little bit drier than it needs to be. I don't know, whatever. I don't like fighting it. It's gonna need one more strip, I guess. Okay. I need a locking canvas, but I don't have it, unfortunately. I'll add on to this later. Now I'm actually gonna use it. Okay, take a look at, you have to tilt it in the light a little bit. Sometimes to see if you got it. And I'll make sure to get all your brush strokes out of there. So go across, up and down a long ways to depending on what you're looking for. I'm gonna go long ways this time because I'm gonna do like a, I think I'm gonna do a little water in the bottom of this. So yeah, that's basically primed. One way to test this is to just put your finger in there. If you come back with a little white, you're ready to go. All right. Not too dry, definitely not too wet because that'll just make it a sloppy mess. We don't want that. So let's do, since we're gonna do a winter scene, I'm going to do kind of a grayer sky, more gray than blue. So I got, on the palette today, I only got a couple colors because I want to make a nice simple one. Of course, titanium white. And see the consistency of this stuff? It just holds on your canvas, right? Midnight black. Oops, get in the camera there. You know, hold it up here. Where was I again? Yeah, midnight black. Just crimson, alizarin crimson, and Prussian blue. Prussian blue is real strong, so you gotta be careful with it. So I'm going to, and remember there's white on the canvas, so that'll dull your color some. So I'm gonna make just a tiny bit of white, real small bit of Prussian blue, and let's see if I can hold it up there for you, and mix it up on the canvas a little bit. I'm gonna need a little more. I want this pretty dark, and a tiny bit of midnight black, maybe a little more. Okay. I want even more black. I want this nice and dulled. Oops, sorry, you're not seeing it there. This is still too dark. I'm gonna put a lot of the black in here. All right, all my black is gone. Try not to overmix it, but this other Prussian blue is a different brand, and it's a little soupier than I'm used to. So think about the color I'm gonna go for, and I'll also use some of this as the base coat for my mountain. So go ahead and clean your knife. Sorry, I don't have a third camera going, I'm sorry. Just not feasible right now. I thought about putting the GoPro on my head so you can watch, but I'll look awful funny. Funnier than normal. All right. So let's take, I'm now gonna clean my brush. Take the 2-inch brush, background brush that you did for your magic white, and then I'm going to put just the tiniest amount tap about the tiniest amount of this dark color in here. Kind of tap it into the bristles like this. You don't need much because, believe me, it'll overpower in no time. We'll see if I like the color. Just to, that's the kind of look you're gonna get. And that'll mix, like I said, with the magic white. So I gotta hold this, I'm sorry. So you wanna go in there with like a swooping crisscross shape, right? So don't hang in there too long. You don't want to completely fill every light space. Always start darker at the edges too, and then work your way down. Because if you look at a real sky, it's not completely uniformly blue or whatever color, right? This is actually a little darker than I wanted, but whatever. So leave little spots in there. And I may add clouds, we'll see. Okay, look at that, you got a sky. And we'll blend that down a little further. You want it to get lighter in value as it goes down. Okay, and you go across. Kind of get the brush strokes out of it. Don't worry about this. Here, we're going to cover a lot of this up. You have to go in layers, right? Now, I could either do, this is really small with the smaller canvases. I probably should have put the sky a little further, but I'm going to put a mountain range in here, one distant and one much closer. And then I should probably just do a snow scene. I don't want to get I got to clean my brush to get that off of there. It's always one hair, it's got to get on your nerves, right? But for this, I'm probably gonna do some water. So take the same color, and I'm not changing anything here. Don't need too much. Once again, tap into those bristles. I'm gonna put this down for this. I gotta hold this. Now, you're gonna wanna go in to the bottom. I'm gonna clean that off here. See, it's not gonna, there it goes. Didn't want to, it's much easier with a brush. So what you do is you come in from the edges and you work your way in, and I'm gonna leave a light spot in the middle for kind of a illusionary water sheen. Now I'm gonna make this pretty shallow here because once again the canvas is so small. So I'm gonna come in just like so. Nice, straight, even strokes, because you want this water to look like it's laying flat. Okay. Darker on the edges. And try to keep it somewhat even, lighter in value as you go up. So don't put any more paint on there. Just let it do its magic. Hence the term magic white, liquid white. So see, just like that, you have this kind of optical illusion of this shimmer on the water, right? Just make sure your edges are filled in. And I'm gonna have to pick this one up because I don't have a good canvas or a good palette. I don't have a good easel. All right, oh, got another one down there. I'm getting my fingers all over in this paint. If you don't like getting dirty, oil painting is not for you because this stuff will get everywhere. Do not wear nice clothes when you're doing this, and definitely don't do this indoors, like in your house or whatever, because the smell is something. It's strong. You can get woozy on it, and you'll wind up splattering paint everywhere as you clean your brush. And then just go across really lightly. Get those brush strokes out of there. Some of that's gonna disappear. Okay, so now we're gonna clean this out real fast. I'd like to be able to show it to you, but needless to say, dip it in the paint thinner, spirits, whatever you're using. Scrape it off on the wire mesh that's in there. Try to get all the excess out of it as much as possible. Take it over to the can, shake it out. Take it over to the beater box. And get it nice and dry, all right? It's ready to go again. I'm sure we'll want it using it again, probably for the mountains. You know, this is smaller, so I might not use that big brush again. So let's go ahead and put some clouds in there. I think I'm gonna use like a medium stiffness brush here. And I'm gonna pull out just a little bit of white paint here. Now, keep in mind, if it's too thick, you can put a little bit of thinner in there, or you can lose a little bit of the liquid white, which is what I'm gonna do here. Since this white is extraordinarily thick, right? And kind of load up your brush. Whoops, it'd be nice if you could see it, right? There we go. It's hard to do this solo. This is not the best brush in the world, but it should do for purposes. I'm gonna put a cloud or two in here, all right? So, just, I see all kinds of different ways of doing this. Just get in there. Some people use the edge of the brush. Just keep the brush moving. I'm always lousy at clouds, so please forgive me. Hopefully the mountains can make up for it. All right. We're gonna blend these a little bit with the big brush, so don't worry about my awfulness here. Okay. Clean, dry brush. Take the corner and blend the edges. I could highlight on all this, but we're not gonna. I'm gonna make this a nice short one, and I can blend inside of it too if you got stuff you don't like, but don't want to make them disappear. And if you leave some thicker spots, it'll show up as almost like texture and make it pop a little more. But blend the edges. Okay. Okay. Now, some people will actually pull up a little bit. Kind of fluff the clouds, as Bob used to say. And then just lightly as possible. You have to go so light with this stuff. Go back across. Pull the brush strokes out of it if possible. Like I said, I can spend a little more time with those and highlight the undersides or top sides or put lighting on them if you think it needs it. But, you know, for the purposes of this, this is more like a tutorial than anything, all right? So we'll just give that a quick clean, nothing too strenuous. Okay, that's ready to go again. So for the next spot, we're gonna need some mountains in here. So, all right, so we got, hopefully you can see all right. We're gonna put a couple different mountain ranges here. I wanna put one way in the back, kind of in the mist, and then a bigger one in the front. And I'm gonna have the mountains go right to the water's edge. I'm doing this all in my head, so forgive me, I'm not a master at this yet, so hopefully this turns out as I want it. So I'm going to mix up kind of a purplish here. Let's take a little bit of the mixture I had earlier, and let's add a bunch of crimson to it. Normally you don't want to overmix this, but this is going to be, I want this one to be a solid color because it's going to be distant. And you see the purple it turns into, hopefully. Anyway, I'm making a big mess here. But we're going to put the mountains on with our knife. Normally, we put the mountains on with your knife. And this one, I'm trying to decide if I want to do it with a knife. Yeah, I'll just do it with a knife here. All right, so here's the hard part to explain. You take your knife and you kind of cut across, and you get what Bob would say is the little roll of paint on the end of your knife, right? And get an idea of where you want this mountain to be. So I want a bigger mountain in the front that's got a lot more detail, and this being purple, it's going to be off in the distance. So I want a little ridge right here. And another one right here. Okay, I'm just outlining it. This is not normally how you do it. All right, so once you get it outlined, you need to get an actual body in there. So, kind of drag it down. You don't want to put way too much paint in here. It's very easy to get carried away with it because we're going to take almost all of this off again. You just want it to be distinct and uniform. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to really scrape into this canvas now. I want all this excess off for the next part. portion. All right, so our distant mountains are in place. So now we need to give those kind of a hazier look, right? They're far away. So let me clean my knife again. Get ready for the next phase, as it were. Normally, well, I'm gonna use a 2-inch brush. It's a little bit big for this. In fact, I'm gonna use a 1-inch brush for this because it's a little too big. What you wanna do is take this XX paint and give this more of a far away look. So what I'm gonna do is grab and pull. Okay, and you can, I'll show you some other things. You can bring something in the front of it by pulling in front and make a backside. I'm awful explaining things, so you have to forgive me. All right. And tap the bottom to kind of blur it out and make it look misty. Okay. Now we don't want a whole lot of detail here. So this is way in the distance. I'm gonna put a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of white on these. So let me get a little bit of white here on the little knife. Hopefully this will work all right. All right, get it nice and flat. Pull that nice and flat. Cut across. Put the paint, sorry, it's not wanting to focus. A little bit, anyway, trust me, there's a little old paint there. And we're gonna put a little snow in these mountains. This is a winter scene, right? So I want this mountain, this peak to be further back than this one, right? So I'm going to start with that one. So place your knife and pull. This is so hard to do. Kind of lean over like this and let the paint break. This little knife is not as easy to use as the bigger one. Light touch, kind of just graze the canvas with it. Okay. Now for the closer peek, I think I can use the big knife, which will make things easier. Okay. Whoops, that's too much. Sorry, I'm just not that practiced with hand yet. Okay. Same idea. You want something, here's another problem I have, is this thing is a little too wide. So you want to be able to go really like 90 degrees with this, but it's basically impossible with what I have going on. And just go around the front of it. Don't make it uniform and perfect, because mountains aren't. And I'm going to bring this face of the mountain over further. It's very easy to do. Okay. Put more white back in here. It does mix really easy with these dark colors, so be aware of that. And just kind of let it fade off. And I can even bring this completely over. So it's fairly easy to give the mountain a different face. You're never really stuck or committed, so. All right, I like it. Simple, it's easy. I'm not even gonna bother with shadow. In fact, I might dull this down a little further, just because it's supposed to be far away. So let me see if I can't do that. Hopefully I don't run out of time here. Putting it together. All right, so now we are going to clean up our palette just a little bit. Let's get that off of there. Clean our knife. I don't want any purple in there right now. Even I don't know why, because I'm about to put a lot on there. I'm gonna take my same purple color. I'm gonna dull it a little further with some more blue. This is closer, so I'm gonna lighten this up just a little bit. In fact, I'm gonna put a little bit of white in there too. Leave it a little bit marbled, because it gives you some pretty cool effects. So see, not nearly as purple as the other one. Clean your knife. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing, except for I'm going to overwrite this one if possible. So cut across and figure out where you want your mountain. I'm thinking like right here. Make us another big peak. Kind of overwrite the clouds once again to give us a little bit of depth. Just have it run right off the canvas there. And then just go in, kind of fill in a little bit. At the same time scraping. It's hard to explain. Straighten things out if it looks too alien. And then scrape your canvas again. Alright, so there's your second mountain range, the closer one. So clean my knife. Coming to the hard part for me, which has always been getting the snow to look right, or whatever highlights you want to put on there. Clean your knife. I want pure whites, pure whites. Alright, same thing, let's see. If I want to go this way, well, obviously the light's coming from this direction. Snow's on that side, so we're going to keep it the same way. So I'm going to make it this one to be a closer one. Hopefully this will work. Alright, so get you some paint, pull it out nice and flat, cut across, that's too much. Okay, and gently as you possibly can, just put it on there and let that paint break. Let's bring it over here. See, letting the paint break is what gives it its look. Get a lot of purple on there. Like actual snowfall. So I will leave this space in between. This will be the dark area that's not the sunlight. Plus it's not perfectly, 9 degrees. It's not, it's how you see it in nature. I'll make this a big face on this side. So gentle you want to be with this. And I'll bring this down. Bring it all the way down there. Now make sure you leave a side it stays in shadow, right? You know what, I forgot to mist my mountains first. Here I am telling you how to do things and I didn't do it right myself. So let's do, I'll put my palette down because I gotta hold on to this thing so it doesn't go flying. But you want to mist your mountains up here again too with a nice dry brush. Kind of haze it out because it's still in the distance. Okay. Maybe we'll do something with that a little bit later. So back to the palette. And I'll put a little more white right here. Okay. Now, you have these little nooks and crannies. I can actually bring that over and make it look, no, I'm gonna leave it separate. So when you have these, get the edge a little bit. You want to put a shadow color in there and just make it pop a little more. I mean, it's really dark already back in there, so I'm going to just put a little bit of the blue and quite a bit of the white. Maybe, let's dull it down just a little more blue. That's getting better. Okay. I probably clean the knife more than necessary, but that's just me. Now let's go ahead and put some shadows in there. All right, so this part's a little bit difficult on these smaller pieces. But same principle, little roll of paint. Same way you did the snow. Okay? I'll use a little knife for some of these. Let it break out. So we don't want too many of those. I'm trying to decide if I want to bother with those far ones. Probably not. Actually, I should add another peak right here is what I should do. But I'm going to put some trees here. So you see how this one kind of pushes this one back, different color and all that. So yeah, so let's just stick with that. We got to make this fast. This is getting long. All right. Now I'm going to put a little bit of foliage, kind of a tree cover down here. Something else you can do is when you have that mist down there, you can actually fool it a little bit by pulling up with a fan brush. And it almost looks like a distant tree line is there. Okay. At the base of that. So, but anyway, you got to think of your season when you're trying to discover, or when you're trying to choose your color for the foliage. I'm going to use the, I'm going to use a fan knife, and I'm going to kind of stick to the same color scheme. Is darker colors. Let's mix up some more of our Prussian blue over here. I want really, really, really dark. Okay. Now a lot of times I mess this part up, but I'm going to try not to. And we're going to try for some evergreens. So go ahead and get some paint on your fan brush here. Okay. I could just put it all the way across, honestly. Let's just make this nice and simple. Kind of with a downstroke. Let's put some trees in there. A little tree line, non-distinct. Got some in the water, but that's all right. Some taller, don't make it all perfect. Be careful about muddying. It's really easy to do in this technique. Just putting too much paint in one area, it's all the same consistency, and it'll start, it won't treat you well. Okay. I'm just gonna put this all the way across. Normally I wouldn't do it like this, but once again, I'm just trying to do a nice, simple, quick one. You want to leave spaces in between that show through the light, plus it makes it look like it's right in front. If you can see parts of the mountain through there, just like in real life, right? Let's just go all the way across. Some are thick copses, some are less thick. But the key is this will hide any spaces that were pre-existing in there. So, and I'm gonna dull that out here in a second. Every now and then, I'll put a little more blue in this. Let's put a little more. I want this really dark so it stands out. You'll have a bigger one that you can actually make out. So let's say he's right here. So let's create him a trunk. And make him a little more distinct. Get a little bit of the muddiness going on, but same, there's another one right here. He's a big boy. Okay. So there's a really quick tree line. I'm going to put this running out of room here. And I want to do the same thing I've been doing before. And let's go ahead and I got to put this down again. And let's go ahead and fog this out some. So what you really can do before I do that is if you want to add a little something to it, grab the edges and pull down. What this is going to do is just going to be part of the reflection. I'm going to make this look a little more round, so I'm going to pull more of the edges down. Okay. Or down further, excuse me. Okay. Now I'm going to have to use a smaller brush for this. Get the excess paint off of there. This is so much easier with the big, the big canvas. These small ones are. Okay. Nice dry brush for this. I just want to blend a little bit and blur. Fill up a little more of that white space. You always want to leave a little bit, but light and dark, dark and light, and all that rigmarole. Now, to make these actually look like something more than just scratches and actually make them look like reflections, I'm going to pull it down again, really gently. kind of smooth these out. Okay, and then we're going to go across them really, really, really lightly. I can't emphasize that enough. And this is going to kind of blur. I'm going to put some land there probably, so. This is going to kind of blur these lines and make them look more like reflections than just scratches in the canvas. Okay? A little bit light right there. Okay, I got paint all over my hands, of course. So, there we go. Now, a couple of these trunks and pieces of the trees could probably use a little bit of highlighting, or maybe even a little bit of snow. So I'm going to take this soft brush that I had over there, dip it into a little bit of liquid white. Liquid white, or magic white, whatever you want to call it. It's thinner, so it should stick to this paint here. And I don't want much, but I'm going to add a little bit of highlights every now and then on some of these bigger ones. Not much. Because they kind of blend in. You won't be able to see them too well if otherwise. This one looks a little bigger. Okay. Put a little too much on that side, but so for me it looks like the snow is sitting on the boughs of these trees. Be careful doing this; it can really get muddy on you in a hurry. I may even put a big tree in the front. We'll have to decide on that. Probably not though. Another thing you can do when you got a little bit of this white is you can grab the edges of the ground and pull up. This will add a couple things. It add like a separation between the trees a little bit, and it kind of looks like bushes or tall grass on the distant shore. Just a little something. So I'm going to add a little bit of ground now, because you can't have this thing floating out there in the middle of nowhere, can you? So let me get a very clean knife here. I dip it in the spirits quite a bit. Okay. Once again, we don't want this, normally I would make this pure white. Maybe I'm going to add a little blue to this. Trying to think how I want to, normally this is like a brown. Let me put a little bit of brown in my palette. Not much. Not much at all. Normally it'd be brown with some highlights. I'm going to put a lot of white highlights on this. But I want a nice dark brown, okay? Same thing, little roll of paint. Let's go along and make a shoreline here. Just a little bit of dirt. Not much, just as far away. Okay. Far away. Ooh, got a piece of trash in there. That's not good. Okay. I can even put a little waterfall there if I wanted to, but let's not make this too more complicated. It's just needs a nice, easy one. I'm going to put it a little bit thicker here, like it's curving in. And you can get crazy with it, put some bushes on there and whatever. Now, I'm going to add some white highlights. Like it's a snow scene, right? So it won't be perfectly brown. Don't cover up your black or your brown completely. You want the dark to show. But I'm gonna make it look like a scrim of snow was on the shoreline there, right? So hopefully you're seeing all this all right. Now, something else you can do here to really set it off is get your little roll of paint going, and you can make a water line by scraping really hard into the canvas. Oops, too much. Oop, I'm getting a little bit of muddiness here in my paint. Got a lot of excess white here. Let's get this nice and flat. This one's fighting me for some reason today. It's a little bit hard to do because you got similar color on the shoreline. Okay, but you can also take those little touches of white and just put little things to give your water, like it's not completely still out there, right? So it gives it a little something. It's like a little wavelet, and you can put rocks out there if you want to get crazy with it. Okay. I don't want to put too much out there. I want this to be a nice still lake. I'm not crazy about my water how it's looking, but it'll work, right? All right, so what else? I was just thinking of something here. Oh, now do we want to add a big tree like right in the front of this thing? Like you're seeing it from the opposite shore. I really don't have any green. I can make some more really dark color and drop that thing in right there. Make a gigantic, like, say it's a pine tree this time. Let's take the rest of my Prussian blue and take a little bit of this Van Dyke brown and what little black I have left over. And I want to make a super dark color. Okay. Now, I could do this whole thing with a knife, but I'm going to make this a conifer, so I'm just going to do, let's just do the point. Okay. Kind of messed that up already, but whatever. What are you going to do? Load that brush full of that dark color. Let's give that a little more of a point. And take the corner of it. And I'm going to hold on to this thing because it's about to go nuts. Okay, you got to reload your brush a lot because you're going to be going over stuff. Bob Ross calls this a bravery test. And I can't argue with him because it's really hard to mess with something when you think you already have it right. Make sure to give lots of nice overhang. Cover your water, you don't want to see through it really too much. But you can see through it a little bit. That's normal too. Okay. Let's bring this up a little bit higher. have a nice point. Okay, so now you got this gigantic tree right there in your line of sight, right? You're on the opposite shore looking at this distant place. But it looks kind of funny, right? We don't have any highlights on there yet. So let's take some of the, put this down. Put the knife in there, I shouldn't do that anymore. I'll take some more of the liquid white with a softer brush. We start adding some highlights here. Want some snow in this tree. Now as you go, the brush is going to pick up a lot of the bottom paint, so switch it over. If it starts getting too muddy, brush it off. And go back into your white. To finish it. All right, so now you got a snowy tree with highlights, right? And really, you can just keep going on and on. You can put rocks in there. You can be a little more descriptive, like, let's see, let's do, you can, there's a couple different things you can do. You can scrape in some trunks on some of these more distant trees. Or you can paint them in. Like these bigger ones, I'm going to put a little bit of a trunk on them. So I have a tiny bit of Van Dyke brown left over, so I'm going to put a little bit of thinner in there and get it real thin. See how it just flows? Okay, I'm going to add some, just the tiniest little bit, the simulated trunk. Okay. You don't want too much. This is distant shore. And I probably need a better liner brush because a lot of times this doesn't come out how I want. Okay. You can add bigger trees here. I could put a really giant, big fir right there or something, but whatever, you know, let's not get crazy, as it were. Okay. Add little touches of one here. But usually you don't want to go messing with this. Once you got the big layouts done, just leave them be. I'm just going to call it here, just because this video's gotten really long as it is. And hopefully that'll give you some idea of what we do. I could put some bushes in here. Let's see. Let's take some of the white with some thinner in it on the 1-inch brush. Sorry, I'm doing this all off screen. And you could put some little sparklers in there, as it were. Just once again, be sure not to muddy this up too much. And kind of give the appearance of some bushes on the shore. You can even make one that's a little bigger, give it some distinction, like over here. Sorry. You can even add the highlights on the trees like this instead of with a fan brush. It works better with these conifers with the fan brush, but really it does highlight better with these types of brushes. And you know, sky's the limit. Like I said, this is the quickie one. It's not great, so I apologize in advance for not giving you the Venus de Mayo or Ode to Joy or for the painting out there, you know. The Sistine Chapel, but it'll work. I'm gonna fog this out a little bit more. Let's cover this white just a little bit. You know, the sheen's still there. Okay. And let's go ahead and put our initials on there and get done. So take your liner brush with some paint thinner again. Nice sharp point. If that will ever focus. And normally I sign on the left side, but I'm going to kneel down here. Okay. Do it in blood red. And there you go. At the end of this, you need to clean all your brushes thoroughly in the paint thinner. Get them dry as you can. Put them back in their sleeves that they come with, and they'll keep their shape and they'll last a long time. But let's go ahead and get you a close-up. Hopefully, this will give you something of an idea. But, you know, I did that in my, I should have been able to do that in about half an hour, but I'm sitting there talking and messing around and showing people stuff. But it's not impossible. You know, you too can do this. I have zero artistic talent. Like I said, when it comes to visual mediums, and even you can do this. So these things aren't usually looked at too close, to be honest with you. But yeah, so there it is. You too can do it. So anyway, thanks for watching. If this is something you enjoy, let me know. Maybe I'll do a future series on this as I paint along. I did this one a week ago, still life that I did on black canvas. I've been really digging the black canvas lately. I want to do some more of these and get better at them. Like I said, I've only done about 20 or 25 oil paintings. So I have a friend of mine who's also a YouTuber who is talking me into getting into acrylics too. So there's always that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'll hold up this camera too, just in case. But yep, you too can paint a landscape in no time at all. Well, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here and enjoy my lockdown again. It's a good hobby to have when you're not to go out and be social with people. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more random content from the channel. You just never know what you're going to get. And maybe some more paintings. Like I said, if I get some good action on this, I would be happy to do some more. If you have any suggestions, comments, or saying, hey, your technique sucks, here's how you need to do it right, hey, put it down below and we'll see about getting in there. I just want to show that anybody can do this. You don't have to be artistically inclined whatsoever. You too can do this. For about 100, 150 bucks, you can get started on a hobby, and these make great gifts. I give away about every one of my paintings, so I ain't good enough to tell them, believe me. So anyway, let me get out of here. I'm talking too long. Until next time, this is Genome and the lovely mountain.